3-day quarantine for ministers, not blanket procedure. Over 160,000 jobs to be created this year. Hello and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Update at Noon with me, Mohammed Amin Carlos. Well, the number of COVID-19 cases in the country appears to be showing a downward trend, a month into the second movement control order, the MCL. Well, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the country's daily figure in the past few days had stabilized.
Dan kita lihat pada purata pergerakan 7 hari kes harian COVID-19 iaitu adalah tertinggi pada 31 Januari 2021 iaitu kes harian sebanyak 5,298 kes. Jadi mungkin kita telah melepasi puncak kes tertinggi pada 31 Januari. Dan kita jangkakan kes akan mendata ataupun plateau sebelum kita melihat kes menurun. Pada jangkaan kita pelaksanaan PKP untuk tempoh 4 minggu baru kita nampak kesan PKP tersebut.
He said the ministry's aim was for the COVID-19 infectivity rate in the country to go down to 0.6 from 1.2 currently. The health DG added that if this target can be reached, the curve can be flattened and the country might be able to reach 2-digit cases by the middle or end of May. On another matter, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said the 3-day quarantine and surveillance period for ministers returning from official visits abroad as provided under Section 29 of the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases for Exemption Order 2021 is not a blanket procedure. Well, he said the length of the period would depend on the risk evaluation conducted by the Health Ministry before a minister departs for the trip.
Di mana pengecualian jemaah menteri yang kembali dari mana-mana lawatan rasmi ke luar negara daripada pemakaian Seksyen 15 Akta yang sama. Sebaliknya mereka akan menjalani perintah pemerhatian selama 3 hari atau menjalani pengawasan sehingga boleh dilepaskan tanpa membahayakan orang lain. Jadi atau tu mungkin 7 hari, atau tu mungkin 14 hari, ataupun mungkin dilanjutkan sampai 21 hari.
He said another criterion is that the schedule must be short and does not involve public places. A further requirement is that the ministers must have travelled via private jet. Ministers travelling on commercial jets will not qualify for the 3-day quarantine period. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's office, the PMO, has strongly denied claims made by UMNO Supreme Council member Dr. Muhammad Puad Zarkashi that the 3-day quarantine order had been gazetted for ministers returning from official trips abroad solely because the Prime Minister did not want to be quarantined after his official visit to Indonesia. Well, in a statement, the PMO said Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin had been handed the home surveillance order and given the observation wristband to wear as soon as he arrived from Jakarta on 5th February. Well, the statement said the Prime Minister is now undergoing quarantine at home. It added that the slander hurled by Dr. Muhammad Puad is malicious and aimed at tarnishing the good name of Tan Sri Muhyiddin. The PMO said legal action will be taken against the UMNO Supreme Council member if he fails to make a public apology over the matter. Well, diners can eat out at restaurants again starting today, even as the current movement control order, the MCO, is set to conclude next week. Well, Senior Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, however, said patrons opting to dine in will be limited to 2 people per table and must comply with the existing standard operating procedures, the SOPs, including a physical distance of 1 meter from other patrons.
Pemilik restoran juga perlu memberi tugasan kepada sekurang-kurangnya seorang pekerja bagi premis yang membenarkan makan di dalam kedai ini, di dalam restoran ini, untuk memastikan kawasan keluar masuk pelanggan ke premis. Memastikan kehadiran pekerja dan pelanggan direkodkan. Penjarakan 1 meter semasa di dalam premis dan menghadkan bilangan pelanggan yang berada di premis pada satu-satu masa.
He said more details on the SOP can be found on the National Security Council's website. The ongoing MCO is slated to expire on 18th February. On a related note, the senior minister said the creative industry will also be allowed to operate starting today, subject to strict compliance with the SOP. Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri said 6 sectors allowed to resume under the creative industry included animation, music production, post-production in studios, digital music development and studio song recording.
Syarikat produksi perlu memohon kelulusan sijil perakuan penggambaran khas FINAS yang mengandungi senarai nama tenaga produksi bagi kebenaran penggambaran dalam studio. Saringan ujian COVID-19 perlu dilakukan bagi semua tenaga produksi yang akan terlibat dalam penggambaran. Keputusan saringan ujian COVID-19 perlu dikemukakan kepada FINAS 3 hari sebelum tarikh penggambaran. Pengeluaran SPP khas ataupun sijil perakuan penggambaran khas FINAS adalah tertakluk kepada keputusan ujian saringan COVID-19 bagi semua tenaga produksi yang terlibat.
Also allowed are pre-production filming in studios for dramas, telemovies, advertisements, documentaries, sitcoms, live streaming, as well as cultural, arts and heritage recordings. However, Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri said no audience is allowed and all operations can be done between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. only. Beginning today, mosques and surau in Perak are allowed to hold Friday prayers, Fardu prayers and funeral prayers with a maximum of 120 people compared with 40 previously, excluding mosque official and committee members throughout the MCO. Well, the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, has given his consent upon advice by the Perak Fatwa Committee as well as the Ministry of Health and the State National Security Council. Well, Perak Islamic Religion and Malay Customs Council, MEIPK, or MIPK, President Dato' Sri Muhammad Anwar Zaini said major mosques in Perak as well as the main mosques in each district are allowed to accommodate a maximum of 250 people. In addition, he said mosques and surau located in army and police camps are also allowed to have a maximum of 250 congregants at one time, and priority should be given to officers who live in the camp area. However, Dato' Sri Muhammad Anwar said for areas placed under the Enhanced Movement Control Order, EMCO, all religious activities, including Friday prayers and Fardu prayers at mosques and suraus, are disallowed. Updates at noon continues. Well, over 160,000 new job opportunities are estimated to be created this year through committed investment, the result of close coordination between the government and industries. Well, the Prime Minister's Office, or PMO, in a statement said the government always welcomes offers from Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers and the SME Association of Malaysia to work together to overcome the unemployment rate through initiatives under the 2021 budget, especially when it involves skills, upgrading and digitalization. In addition, the PMO said the Special Task Force STF also submitted strategies to overcome the issue of unemployment and job mismatch so as to achieve three main objectives, namely matching human capital based on industry demand, increasing highly skilled employment opportunities, and strengthening cooperation between the academic sector and industry. Well, towards this end, the STF will also be operating with non-governmental organizations to ensure each implementation remains inclusive, the statement said. Pahang police have crippled a drug distribution syndicate which is believed to be active in the Klang Valley after arresting a man with 32.69 kilograms of shabu worth 1.47 million ringgit on Saturday. State Police Chief Dato' Abdul Jalil Hassan said the 40-year-old suspect was detained at 4:45 p.m. at a roadblock at Kilometer 7 Kuala Lipis by a team from the Bukit Aman Narcotics Crime Investigation Department. He said police believe the syndicate started distributing drugs 3 months ago.
Yang rata-rata latar belakangnya di kes dadah, berkaitan dadah, ujian IPC-nya adalah positif match dan mempunyai 4 rekod lampau kaitan dengan dadah.
The suspect has been remanded for 7 days from Sunday, and further investigations are being conducted under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act, which provides a mandatory death sentence upon conviction. Well, a syndicate operating as a middleman for the labor recalibration program has been crippled after 2 men, including an Indian national, were detained in Penang on 7 February. Immigration Department Director General Dato' Khairul Zaimi Daud said the 2 men were detained in a special operation following a month-long cooperation between the Immigration's Intelligence, Special Operations and Analysis Divisions in Penang and Putrajaya. Well, in a statement, he said the syndicate's modus operandi is to gather foreign nationals with immigration offences and promise to take them to certain immigration officers as they did not get the appointment slots through the online appointment system, or STO. Now, the foreign nationals were then charged between 1,000 ringgit and 1,500 ringgit each by the syndicate to deal with their registrations in the recalibration program without having to make an appointment via STO, as said by the Immigration Department. Dato' Khairul said investigations showed that the syndicate was active in Perlis, Kedah, Penang, Perak, Terengganu, Johor and Kuala Lumpur. The 31-year-old local suspect has been remanded for 7 days, while the second suspect, a 35-year-old Indian national, is currently being detained by the Penang Immigration Department. Well, firstly, the government has decided to allow centralized training programs for the Malaysia League, Malaysia Hockey League, the MHL, and Sepak Takraw League, STL, to resume from 15 February. Well, Senior Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the decision was made after joint discussions and risk assessments by various agencies in the MCO Technical Committee.
Penginapan atlet pemain juga perlu mengikut SOP, camp quarantine dan home quarantine yang telah ditetapkan. KBS juga membentang cadangan pembukaan beberapa aktiviti sukan lain, khususnya yang bersifat individu, serta tanpa sentuhan, dan bagi tujuan kecergasan fizikal dan meningkatkan taraf kesihatan diri. Penelitian akhir sedang dibuat dan kita akan umumkan dalam waktu yang terdekat ini.
Well, that concludes today's edition of Updates at Noon. Well, in our top story, 3-day quarantine for ministers, not blanket procedure. Tune into news at 10. Coming up at 10 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM on My Freeviews, channel 123. Or you could also stream the news by surfing RTM's MyClick. Thanks for watching. I'm Carlos. Do stay tuned to TV2. Bye for now.